Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at the techtrader.com. It's Tuesday night, March the 19th. These are the charts of the day at techtrader.com. It's going to be a longer video than normal. I want to cover both longs and shorts, and there's quite a few of each. So let's do a quick review. ACAD, which has been in this coiling pattern for a while, emerged today about perhaps or close to it, thrusting 40 cents or 6.5% on 3.5 million, which is the biggest volume since back at the end of January. So in about 6 weeks, the biggest volume, getting it right up to that line. Now tomorrow, if we get a follow through in ACAD, it could run. It should test the 685 area, and a move through that could get this stock all the way to 8 plus. So keep an eye on it, particularly if volume comes into it. ATOS, I want to look at this on a 1-minute chart. That was one of the stars of the day today. Take a look at this pattern. At the opening, it thrusted, then pulled back, soared again, formed a beautiful apex, and I said if it gets out of here with any kind of pickup in volume, which it had here, we should buy the stock. Anyway, the bottom line is it went from about 10.5, jumping up to 12.24, a beautiful $1.75 very quickly. Formed a little wedge and broke out of that with a thrust to the upside, getting into my target range around 12.25. It actually hit 12.35. And then another coil. By the end of the day, when it was apparent it wasn't breaking down, holding here towards the 3 o'clock hour, it moved up, retested the moving average, and then closed strong. As a matter of fact, closed at 12.37, up 316, up 34.3%, and near the highs for the day going away. Now, on a daily chart with a lot of lines on it, you can see the stock had this big coil, broke out, pulled back, and then exploded for 3 days in a row with today's volume still under a million, but the biggest volume in a long, long time. We may see some additional upside momentum. If it gets anywhere near 14, I think tomorrow that could be a place to pull back on it. CLNE. Well, it's a swing trade of ours, and tonight we are going to include the swing trades. And a review of the swing trade shows that CLNE was probably a bit premature in terms of when I recommended it. The volume wasn't strong enough. As a matter of fact, the volume on the day it broke out here, even though it did get a follow through and ran up to secondary resistance, and immediately came down on stronger volume, the biggest volume of any kind since January. Not a good sign. And 2 more days down, and this stock is now in jeopardy of a breakdown. You can see it's right on the channel, right near the 10-day moving average. Any further downside damage here, expected test of the 1345.50 area, and a break of that takes us out of the stock. Still, it's a long-term nice pattern here. We may see some more upside at some point, but if we get a weak market, this could be vulnerable. CRAY Computing, CRA, is one of our top 25, but another beautiful day, up 60 cents or nearly 3%, and another new multi-year high, acting great, targeting 23.5, 24. HDSN is a swing trade, and after it broke out and pulled back, it nearly got stopped out. At a $4 stop, it hit 410. Reversed back up to 461, right where the prior high was, 463, reaching 465 today. And if we do get a follow through here, and I suspect we may, we should see this get up to near 490 to 5 short term. Beyond that, if you take a look at the longer term chart, here's a weekly, you'll see that the stock had a multi-year base in here. This goes back 15 years. It stuck its head out and above it. And one of the reasons why I like this swing trade is I believe there's a possibility we could see this all the way up in the low teens at some point. But for now, let's take a look at the short-term target, which comes in around 5 3/4. And then we'll see what happens. IMMR. What a beautiful day it had today. Take a look at the intraday chart. Stock started out with a pop yet this morning. Excuse me, that's 2 days. Pulled back right to the moving average, ran up. I had a 5-way move early on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which reached the top of the channel and my target around 11.5. Pulled back, made nominal new highs, and pulled back again mid-afternoon, only to hold the trend line of 2 days. Here's the 2-day trend line, see it? And then it ran back up again. If things hold true, wouldn't be shocked to see this move up towards 12 to even 12.5 short term. There's lateral resistance, though, around that 12, 12.10 zone. That remains a swing trade and a good one, but there is key overhead resistance up in that zone. So it's already achieved one target, second target at 12 may be achieved tomorrow. IMMR, another stock that excuse me, IMMR, another stock we just covered it. LCC, which had run up through and a very steady run up. Look at the last 3 weeks, and nearly every day up except for one day, and then it reversed and went right back up again. But today, reaching 16.85, it came within 15 cents of my $17 target. And based on the long-term channel, you can see that this has room to run. It may very well be at some point an intermediate to longer term in the mid-20s. That's my long-term target, but on a short-term basis, even though it has broken out, it's vulnerable to a pullback potentially. Nice day for LSCC today. It broke out of a key resistance level. Here's a weekly chart. You can see that the pullback to the moving average is held on a weekly chart. Let's look at the daily. After the coiling base was broken out and then consolidated and ran up to resistance and pulled back to test the moving average. That was successful and it broke through resistance today. For me, the next move would be logical up around the $6 range, and that's my target, followed by 640.50. On the 1 minute chart intraday, you'll see that the chart had a beautiful session from this morning's price when it popped, had a secondary move, 4 or 5 hour falling wedge, let's call it 4 hours, and then in the afternoon took off in a steady climb, saw it go from 5 to 532 and close near the session highs. Good day for LSCC. Moving forward, the target appears that we could get it up around 6 and then 690. Maru has been great for us. A swing trade in which we got in on this breakout here and then tagged the target there. Then moved through, consolidated, and reached my second target today at 650.60 zone. At the top of the channel, we may see some pullback. Momentum is very strong. In long term, it's gone through major resistance going back to 2011. Next target would be somewhere up around 8, 8.25. MOSY with a big base. Looked like it was breaking out. We put a swing on it when it popped here, but didn't quite get through, reaching 478 before pulling back today about 12 cents, 2.5%. But I want to see if I can hold this zone and work its way higher. Eventually, my target on MOSY would have to be for run up in the 6.5 zone. PGNX, I just like the way this looks. The kind of a head and shoulders, then a coiling type pattern that broke out. We tested the moving averages, popped, and look what's going on the last 2 sessions. A little bit of a 2 narrow inside days on lower volume. This is a nice setup for more upside. If we can get through here, I'm looking for a test of 645, roughly my next target. This could be a good swing trade. Keep an eye on it. SPU swing trade, well, the tender offer deadline was announced today, and it's tomorrow at 5 o'clock. As a result, and it's a $4 tender, the stock is actually pulling back towards that $4 bid. Now, there is support in the 4.405 area. I don't want it underneath that. If it does do that, then I'm not going to be able to achieve my targets up around 5, 5.25. The rising 50-day moving average comes in about 382. That's secondary support. Swift Transportation, well, we put a swing trade out on the pop out. It got the secondary resistance backed off the test. Popped again yesterday, and today was an inside day. Bottom line is, if this wedge or little mini wedge that's forming here is broken to the upside, that's what we're going to see. We're going to need to move through 15, 30, 50 zone with volume. And then my target could be as high as something up in the high teens. So keep an eye on Swift. I'm looking for, I believe my target on Swift is 18, 18.5. So not a surprise. I think that this is what we're going to be looking for. Perhaps a move up towards even as high as 19 may be doable here. 19, 19.5. Up next is Tier. Tier's a swing trade of ours. It broke out. We gave you a buy here. Excuse me, it broke out here. Consolidated, tagged our first target. Coiled, broke out and tagged our second target. And now forming a flag above resistance, now support. Today it moved up a little bit, 20 cents to 3.25%. Volume's picking up just a tad. This may be the precursor to another move. I'm looking for $8 on the stock. THRX, we gave you a buy on a breakout here. It extended to the first resistance level and it's pulled back for 2 weeks now, forming a nice flag. The overall chart pattern is a beautiful triple bottom base, high volume breakout, pullback. Usually this first pullback is an ideal buying point. Today jumped from 23.50 to 24.25 before backing off. But we'll keep an eye on this one for future upside, targeting 25.5 and 27. UNXL, unbelievable stock. It just continues to do well. It's been coiling for about a week now. The volume has been quite low. And without any deterioration, this stock is signaling that it may want to move higher. Right now, at this point, my next target is going to be up around 33, 34. Stop underneath 26. And lastly, VIPS continues to amaze. Excuse me, what a beautiful chart. And continues to chug upward. It's breaking the flag. It's moved up for a couple days. The top of the channel now comes in around 37.8, and that could be our target on an intermediate basis, short-term target 32. That's it on the long side. Let's take a look at some shorts. There we go, box of shorts. As you can see, AAWW alphabetically comes first. And this is a stock that we had put a short out up in that zone when it rolled over, then bumped, and it kept pumping up until it got the key resistance and rolled over. Lately, it's been forming a little rising wedge and then rolled over again. If it takes out the recent lows at 43, we could see 39.5, 40 pretty quickly. ASPS broke its bear wedge after failing at the declining top channel and the 50-day moving average. A big hit this week. Today down another duck, 410 or 5.4%. It appears that the declining channel and lateral support around 67 may be tested short term. Carnival continues under pressure, down another 71 cents or 2% today, but this is a stock under distress. And if we break this level, we could see a very sharp move down towards 29.30. Stay tuned. COH also been bearish on this for a long time. I've got a previous swing trade on it. But take a look at this rising wedge. It was broken. It was down another 80 cents today. That one could crack. If it breaks the 46.5 area on a longer term basis or intermediate basis, we could see 39.40. DDS looks to be rolling over here. See that breakdown bear wedge? That bear wedge broke today. Headed for 73, I believe. LULU. Well, we had this on our list when we saw this breakdown and bear wedge form yesterday. Well, yesterday it gapped down out of the wedge. Today it gapped down below support. It tagged secondary support and bounced back towards the trend line. But a takeout of today's lows of 62 could mean we're headed into the mid 50s and then maybe eventually low 50s. MLNX, after a brief short covering run here, rolled over hard and has been down again every day in the last 5 sessions, down 252 or 4.5% today. If this cracks here, it could fall precipitously and test the low 40s. Blue Nile, stock in a downtrend with a rising wedge. It broke that wedge today. We could see that fall back towards the 30 range for a test. Rex is falling apart after the big breakaway gap to the downside, and then a snap back to resistance. It's rolled over, snap back again, and it took out support. If we take out the lows, we could see the stock dramatically fall, at least down for a test of, say, 46. RNF, that's a swing trade short, poked the wedge, bounced right to resistance, and collapsed. Breaking through that line, we should see a test of the next support area at around 34. Short term, maybe even as low as 32.5, 33. SSYS, also a swing trade short. I put it out 2 days ago. It did bounce back a little yesterday, fell at the moving averages. Today it was down another $1.06. If we break that line there, and I really believe that that is the line that broke right there. So we could see this fall over and test the mid to high 50s short term. Lastly is TCK, which had a tough day today, down $1.50 or 5%. After breaking down a wedging here, it broke down a wedge again. We have had a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave down. If this comes down tomorrow morning towards 26.5, 3/4 will maybe a time to cover it for a bounce, but it looks pretty nasty. And that's it, both the long and short. Good luck tomorrow. We'll talk to you in the morning. Bye-bye.